Hi, this is a C-Class W203 engine 271. This is a compressor 1.8 liter. I have a fuel injector fault on this car. I'm now going to demonstrate how to change the fuel injectors. Right, I'm now removing fuse number 4, which is the fuel pump fuse. There we go. And this is in the trunk of the car. I'm not going to start the car. It probably won't start. Right, so it won't start, but what that does is it releases the pressure in the fuel line. Right, I just open this just to release any pressure. Right, I just pop this cover off. Now in this engine, the fuel injector is on the right hand side, so I need to create some space in order to get to them. I'm not going to open the air filter. These are T25. I'm going to release this air intake. Right, so now I loosen the strap here. Right, on the side there are two E10 screws. I've removed them. Right, you can gently pry this off. Then there's one inside here. Then there's one on the side over there. Right, now over there and there is an attachment point, there and there, offering some dampening. So this has to go backwards a bit. Right, there's this clamp which I can't get to. Now I've taken a copper wire, I've looped it on the one side, and then on this side I'm just taking a screwdriver and then I can open it. As you can see, I'll be able to open it. That copper wire I can then tug on and then pull out this pipe. I've just tied the copper wire over here. That screw must be pulled out as much as possible, and this screw must also be pulled out as much as possible so that this can be slid backwards. Right, if you have a look at these two screws, you'll notice that even though they're loose, they don't quite come out. And when you're trying to slide this back, you'll notice that these screws block you. You need to make sure these are up and then slide, otherwise these will block you from sliding this out. Right, there's a connector here, so that can now move like that. Okay, you're going to need to take this out, so one. So to get this out, you see you've got to slide that out, and the same at the back, you slide that out. Right, now it's still stuck because there's some cable ties here. Right, so there's a clip at the back, just remove that one. There's one over here as well. And there's a pipe over here. If you want to completely take this out, you have to remove this. So what I do is I just slide in a screwdriver on the side and then that comes off. Right, now you can take this out. Now you've got access to your fuel injectors. Now because I'm going to pull these fuel injectors out, I've got this wiring harness that's in the way. So I'm just going to loosen, there's a screw there, and then this should move out of the way. These are T25s. Right, there's a little plug here. Right, so this is an E10, and then there's an E10 there. Alright, just check that there's nothing blocking this travel when you open it. Just move that. Alright, you can release this fuel pipe. You just unscrew this nut. In my case, I've already released the vacuum and I don't anticipate a lot of fuel coming out of here. Now you can pull this out. Just remember to come out at a 45-degree angle. You're not pulling like this, you'll break it. You're going to come out at 45 degrees. So all I need to do now is pull this out, but I've tried to pull this out and it's not coming out. So what I'm going to have to do is just release each one of these fuel injectors, take out the fuel rail, and then pull out the fuel injectors one by one. So what you're doing is you need to remove these retaining clips from the fuel injector so that you can pull out the fuel rail. It's a bit snug in here, but all I do is I take my pliers and I pull out this retaining clip. Release these plugs now. You just squeeze these metal tabs together. Right, so I'm now pulling the fuel rail out. There we go. Right, here are the injectors, and now you can pull them out one by one. Use a rag to block the holes. Right, I've pulled this one out. It's a good idea to label it because when you're testing it, it'll be good for you to know which fuel injector is faulty. All right, so I'm just labeling this. Right, now you just need to pull out the other fuel injectors. If you're struggling to get it out, what you can do is just put a screwdriver right there at the base, grab the injector and turn the screwdriver. As you can see, it just pops out. Just be careful, don't gouge anything here and don't be rough. Once you've got your injectors out, just take a rag and just cover those holes. You don't want anything to fall into those holes. Right, in my case, I decided to refurbish these fuel injectors. As you can see, I've put new O-rings on. These are the old ones. I've changed the filters, and these have been ultrasound cleaned. If you'd like to test them, it's quite easy. Just get a multimeter, put it on resistance measurement, and then measure across the two terminals over here. Each one of these measures between 11.8 and 12.2 ohms, telling me that the coil is intact. If you have a bench test supply, you can also listen for the operation of the solenoid. So here I connect the positive and negative here across the terminals. And since it's a coil, it's unidirectional. You don't have to worry about the polarity. And all I do is I put the negative here and I do it quickly, and then I listen for the operation of the solenoid. And there I heard the solenoid opening and closing. Right, so there you can see the test rig, the fuel injectors put on the rig, and there you can see they are tested. They are tested to see that they will operate at the same rate. They've been cleaned, given ultrasound, filters have been changed. Right, just take a rag and maybe some thinners and just clean the area there. Just check that these have not bent at all. So I first just put it here to see the alignment. Right, they're straight. Right, I just use a lithium type grease and I'm just going to grease up these O-rings. Now I take the retaining clip and then put it back. Right, so there's the clip. You see the clip seats itself into that recess over there. Right, now go ahead and check that each one of these is in the right position. The clip mouth is closed. Right, now it's time to just lubricate these O-rings and insert these fuel injectors. Right, once the fuel injectors are in place, you can depress them with an even pressure. Right, check the wiring harnesses for each one of these injectors and then close them. Right, you need to put these screws back. I use the blue thread locker. These do not have to be very tight. Remember, this is an aluminium head. Right, the next step is you want to put this back on your car, but you'll have to open this clamp. Now, once you seat this into your car, it is very difficult to put this clamp on. So there are a few methods you can use. If you don't have a tool that can open this for you, this is what I do. I've tied wire to a fixed surface. I've then tied it to there. And as you can see, when I pull on the wire, it is opening the mouth of the clamp. Right, so there you see the clamp is big. And you can see it fits nicely over this. Now I can put this into the car, and when I'm finished, all I do is I take side cutters and I cut the wire, and then the clamp then closes. Or you could just go and buy one of these clamps. Right, so there you can see I've put the clamp on that side of the pipe, and now I can put the air intake back on. Right, you'll see that the wiring harness slides in there, and there are two screws. And just note that that and that have to slide in there and there. You can put a little bit of lubrication there so it slides in easily. Move all the wires. Right. Now it must slide in these slots first. Okay, now it's time to seat it at the back there. Now move these harnesses again. I'm just going to use this to open the mouth of this clamp. There you can see I'm going to open it a little bit more so I can slide the pipe in. Don't forget to cut that so it releases and tightens on that pipe. Right, now it's time to plug everything back in. I just spray some contact cleaner before I plug in things. pull it at the back, seat it, press it. Open this, seat it, press. Tighten the screws. Put this pipe back in. Right, reseat this. Right, your 2 screws. Seat the bottom first. Put the fuse back. Start the car, clear the error codes, let it run for a bit, go back and check the error codes. Thanks for watching and cheers.